didn't fall asleep. It was a little bit of a delay, but we're back ready for our second match of the day. It's Open Division, a lower round 7. This is fight or flight. You gotta bring it all to the server now, because if you lose here, you're going home. And to see who's going home and going further into this bracket, my name is Los, joined by Jace. And Jace, all or nothing here. How are you feeling?
It is. The stakes are do or die. It always gets nervous when we get into this. This could be the first for either of these teams to be in a high pressure do or die situation. And then a little bit of lag, I think, on my end actually lost. I think I've stabilized, right? Good. Tech issues. Of course, it's quite late here in the UK. It's currently 11, so tech issues thrown in. But nonetheless, we soldier on. We go forward. Period T versus Olympus Gaming in the lower bracket. It's do or die. Don't know anything, don't know much about either of these teams, so I'm really looking to go off first map and sort of digest the information. But it's good. It leaves us with a fresh perspective. It leaves us with an open mind, and we can sort of just really expect anything to go on here. I have no idea what I'm looking for either of these teams, apart from just good, clean Overwatch.
I mean, maybe from the side of Period, we might have some material girls over there. We don't really know, but you know, it's a possibility. But I'm ready to get into this, and I do believe the first map around is going to be Lijiang Tower. Previously, our starter was Oasis. It was off stream, but it was a banger nonetheless. But now we are going to be able to get from the beginning. Lijiang Tower, always a litmus test of checking out what these teams are capable of bringing to the table, seeing what alternate compositions they might have. And I mean, if we're looking at our previous series, it was a big time focus on the Wrecking Ball. Now, I'm not expecting to have a one-trick player there, that little Wrecking Ball main in the back line, but we are going to have some versatility. At least I'm imagining we will, right, Jace?
I would assume so. Lijiang Tower almost forces you to show your hand in terms of flexibility, because the compositions that are strong on Night Market are not strong on Control Center. And Gardens is sort of the hybrid in between. They are three completely different stages, geometrically and in terms of compositionally. You just can't play the same thing across all three. You have to show diversity, and that diversity ultimately breeds quality. If we can see a solid performance from one of these teams on potentially 2 or more compositions, then I feel safe hedging my bets about them taking this series. But until then, well, we've got to see what they're running.
We don't know exactly what we're getting into. This is the 19th and 30th seed, respectfully, that being Period 19, Olympus the 30th. So they've been kind of scrapping it out in the middle of the pack so far. They have been able to get into that serious adversity of some of those higher seeded teams. But regardless, both of them ended up in the lower brackets. So something went wrong along the way here. So now it's time to see if you could really correct the errors that you've previously had. Maybe they were unable to adapt as a series progressed, but this is the time to look back, review your own VODs, and improve, because as we all know, either move on or go home. This is no triple elimination bracket. Do or die.
Yeah, it's do or die. It is a lower bracket. Both of these teams have had their chance. You'd think 19 seed versus 33. You think the 19 seed is definitely the favorite, but you never know. It's a do or die. Every map matters. Pressure situation. Olympus Gaming, they're going to be coming out on SimRush, as they're going to TP to point, but Period looks like they've got 6-man composition with the Wrecking Ball to be able to try and take that down. So if Olympus Gaming manage to contain this hamster of Osamu, then Period T just going to be standing and watching from the outside.
Yeah, they're hanging out on the other side of this main pillar, where they've got more control, because it forces Period to try and close that gap, but they'll take a lot of damage along the way. Osamu does cause a bit of knockback, swinging around the center, and will be ultimately stunned. Might have the chance to escape, and they do, but it forces out the lamp, so they will have no safety belt. Skipper, though, the front line, the real damage dealer, is hitting them hard with those Hellfire shotguns. And Olympus Gaming, they've lost their shield, so they've lost control of the objective.
Yeah, exactly. They can't walk onto the point without that Reinhardt once Festive has gone down. Period T, this is a lifeline that they get at this point, because now they get the opportunity for Osamu to pincer on the back angle. But Olympus, they don't care. They're going to go with Simwall plus High Noon. Did not manage to find the TP. Osamu not quite flashbang, but Olympus Gaming still on the point, and still looking to try and wrestle over percentage their way.
Seems to be the case. Coalescence, it forced them off to the wayside, and that is huge. The Coalescence get the kills, the Boop even more, and that's a full-on clear. Hey, jump off, because you've got no hope in hell of getting this objective.
There we go. Olympus Gaming, their ultimate engage, whilst it was first, it was a little sloppy, it was a little rushed, it was a little bit unsynchronized. The sim wall basically didn't do anything because what Period T did is they just sat, they gatekept, they girl bossed it, and they just ran them over with the Coalescence once they got the opportunity. The EMP from Pokane was nice as well. And once again, Period T can just abuse this game with the fact that Olympus have to rotate into them. The Mei is going to be a little bit better than the sim was at containing Osamu on this Wrecking Ball, but Olympus, they just need to get the point, and they need to get the point fast. But I mean, Skipper on the Reaper, they're going to have to deal with him once they get into his effective range.
And, you know, we're talking about the 3 strong Gs. The last one, Gaslight, made them think that Olympus Gaming was going to be safe using all their ultimates to get inside, but it won't be the case. Beretta here with the high noon, another situation where, well, finally it does come to fruition. They do get the kill, but what else is on the table for them? That's 4 dead for Period. This is done for them.
Yeah, this absolutely is done. On the plus side, though, they get 82% on the board, and Olympus Gaming, they don't really, they commit basically all their important ultimates that they had left in the bank, and Period are going to be coming up on an EMP. So they're looking to put the final mark and sort of just seal off the round full girl boss style. They're going to get a nice stagger onto Skipper or Olympus because, I mean, honestly, they have to. Every second for Olympus matters if they want to reach the summit, if they want to climb the peak and even just take this first round, because they are staring down the barrel of an EMP Coalescence from Period T. It is a game of time. It's a game of resources. Zeus on this Mei absolutely has to get this Blizzard as fast as possible. That is their win con.
Yeah, and at this point, they're having an inability to do that, but the best option is to move on out. Don't allow them to get to the objective, but Osamu, they might be able to backcap this. I think it does cause a bit of confusion because now the attention, the focus fire from Olympus Gaming is frayed. Festive no longer has the ability to bring out the shield, follow it up with the Coalescence in the minefield, and no one will be left alive to save the day here for the side of OG. But maybe a freeze onto Osamu can stall things out for a little bit, but it's a collapse from Period, and that should be it. The conversion is good.
Oh, it's the oldest trick in the book, and they fell for it hook, line, and sinker. That's a classic, and unfortunately, you know, sometimes the classics do work. There was high percentage on the board for Period. They knew that if they touched the point, Olympus had to respond. Unfortunately, they all responded. They all went back, and that meant that Osamu just went back off point, rolled back into them, and gave them the minefield to either make them run into the Reaper of Skipper or walk back into the minefield, and that's exactly what Otos did on that Baptiste. Super jumped straight into one of those mines, and kaboom, off his head went back to the spawn for him. Quick trip, and once Olympus lose their Baptiste, everyone else fell in half a second as well. That is quintessentially, fundamentally, just how you play Wrecking Ball against these rush compositions. Loss, and I mean, it worked the charm. Sometimes, you know, you can't beat the classic, and the old tricks, they just come good, and exactly what happened for Period. Now they're going to go over to the Reinhardt Osamu, showing that he's not a Wrecking Ball one trick, and they're going to be pulling out a sort of spam rush variant with Junkrat for Skipper.
Skipper is a critical hero in this play because now they have the opportunity to just send all the damage in. The lamps are gone. Otos can't protect his team, but he doesn't need to because Festive jumping in straight ahead leads the charge, and they will survive. They will succeed gracefully throughout this first fight.
Yeah, really nice play from Olympus, actually. It's something that a lot of teams genuinely don't do, even at some of the high levels, as we're seeing here as we get late into Open Division. What Olympus did is essentially just recognize that their competition does not win the spam war. It does win the rush war. That Mei walked on. There was no mirror Mei from the side of Period. They walled the Reinhardt and they ran them over. They did not let the fight extend, because if they did, they were just going to die to the spam that Period were able to set up with Skipper on this Junkrat. And once again, look, Olympus so aggressive once they walk in, looking to take it down. And Festive finds 2 with an Earth Shatter. Oh,
that's
my.
massive, and now they can follow it up. It's all over. Festive with 4. I think that's just all kill participation. If they get Interstellar, would have been a Festive team kill.
Yep, there we go. All through the floor. It's not quite festive season, but I mean, that was absolutely that was a celebratory Earth Shatter there from Festive. That is one definitely worth remembering all year round. Clearly is the pain that Festive is giving out. Now his team has to fight back against the damage that Skipper is giving out. That Junkrat does have Rickfire ready to go. I think that's the angle for re-engage here for Period. Is that Rickfire from Skipper has to come out for him to walk in, because I mean the sim wall just goes up like you can't walk in lost. They're just getting like defensively rotated.
Yeah, it's just a complete denial of anything from the kid of Skipper. I mean, they're bringing out the Riptire. I'm excited to see what it can do. It does remove Suisse, and now they have a sim wall of their own, but Osamu, they're feeling the pain. They can't break out. They have all of their utility to try and make this gap close, but the second that they get an inch, there's so much damage coming back from them, but it seems space has been created. Amplification Matrix isn't really a good window to use because everyone's hiding in the middle. If they can get around this corner, send out the Blizzard, this could be a massive opportunity for the rest of Olympus Gaming, but they can't finish off the kills. It's Pokane and Interstellar. They're locking it down.
There we go. They managed to find the flip. Nice clean up there thanks to the Ojada from Osamu. Olympus, though, I thought they played that fight so well. I don't like the Blizzard at the end there from Zeus. You were down so many people, and you technically got your goal of the fight. They played that fight up until that point so well. They lost the minute. Zeus died to that Junkrat Riptire, and they just needed to play the long game, but Festive doesn't care about long. He puts 5 on the floor.
Well, they're taking a lot of damage, but it only results in the loss of a lamp. So much committed, but Zeus will be the one to fall first. Festive now running in without a shield. They don't have much protection or heal as the healers are being countered, targeted, and no possibility to escape. It's Interstellar locking down these supports without any issues.
So unlucky. Festive slam was absolutely massive. Unfortunately, the one person that stood tall after that Earth Shatter was Marble, and Marble has Lamp in that case to keep his team nice and healthy. Says, okay team, you're all on the floor, don't worry, I got you. Keeps them nice and safe inside that invulnerability, and that meant that Period could stand back up and, well, hit them back 10 times harder. Now it's 60%, so percentage still in the favor of Olympus Gaming, but they don't have a Mayo, and Skipper, once again, he's got this Riptire. Let's see what he can do with it.
Well, not exactly the best, but it does create an opportunity. Send out the self-destruct. No one finds
Crunch.
it. The Riptire is destroyed. Nothing works, but it's the remech. A destructive drop onto Suisse in Olympus Gaming. They're losing all of their options. Fresco, the last one alive, and the mech, they're destroyed, and so are the hopes of OG holding on to this objective.
Oh, I just muted myself. Yeah, really risky there to go on the drop against that Mei, because you need to kill that target, but Interstellar just being able to one-shot the Mei in that case. Once again, Zeus has been one-shot too many times in these fights. It's the key to this composition, and now they've got to fight without their Mei.
Okay, they're walking into nothing. There's already 3 gone before the fight really begins, and especially with Pokane, the beam is just too fat for them to even touch the point, and Period closes it out 2-0.
Yep. There we go. In the end, it was Skipper who crossed the I's, dot the T's, and put the pen to paper to well and truly sign off and put a punctuation mark on this first round. Period playing so well on this Wrecking Ball composition, as we see Olympus Gaming main time getting a huge Earth Shatter. That was really nice from Festive. Great aggressive Reinhardt play, but unfortunately, it was not enough. It was not frequent enough. It just did not happen when it needed to at the consistency it did. Period T, well, they were in control, to be honest, for that Wrecking Ball round. They really had Olympus on a string. They pulled them one way and then they sort of punished them for doing so. They were puppeteers, and I mean, Olympus Gaming were absolutely on strings for that round. And we went over to Control Center loss, and it sort of felt like the same thing. Every fight I looked, Skipper had gotten a pick, or he had a Junkrat Riptire that was ready to do so. I think he had 1 out of 3 be destroyed by Festive. The other 2, he managed to find a really, really crucial pick. So, Period showing up on some less than popular heroes. I believe Aquamarine, who's a very common NA Junkrat player, calls it a legacy hero going into Overwatch 2, but we're still in Overwatch 1. Junkrat's still viable on Control Center, and Skipper absolutely proving that.
Oh yeah, walking into that white room is just, it's a firing range. It's a danger zone. You can't expect to come in there cleanly, and any time that we saw Period walk in, it was just an absolute mess. But I do want to jump back to the Gardens, because there was an opportunity for Olympus Gaming to win this one out. We were talking specifically about Suisse building up to that Blizzard. When they took the fight to the side white room, that was the moment for them to win. But as we said, the Wrecking Ball pulling them back out, being baited out, and then just sandwiched. It was just an unfortunate moment. But I am seeing that there are moments where Olympus Gaming can come up big, come up find strategies, read their own situation, and create an option to escape it. Unfortunately, Period reads that situation and says, oh, well, how about I do this? And then it just completely falls flat.
Yeah, it felt like Period, when they went first, they had the tempo advantage. They used their game-winning, fight-winning ultimates. The times where we saw Olympus go first, which admittedly was only once or twice, Period had the perfect counter response. They had the trap card pulled. They had it waiting in the back wings, ready and raring to go. Our second map, by the way, is going to be Havana. We've got confirmation from that. And, I mean, Period didn't really show any snipers. They showed very rush, very six-man, very death ball based composition, so Olympus could potentially be flourishing and showing that hero pool there, maybe pulling out like an Echo, a sniper, and trying to take it on a Widow or a sniper differential, because this map basically since its inception has been sniper differential. If you manage to get into it, if you manage and you have good enough snipers, really the Widows, the Hanzos, the Ashes of the world completely control it. And as I predicted, Olympus Gaming, well, I feel like they've fallen off the holy grail there. They've fallen off the blessed mountain of Olympus. They've gone down 7 circles of hell, which is they're pulling out the accursed double shield on the defense. The Sinner comp, old reliable on this map though. Olympus Gaming, I mean, this is your bread and butter for this map. Let's see how good their double shield is. But for Period, they're going to go for a Hamster, which on the defense can potentially get dislodged quite easily. So Olympus should have control of the cart. They should have control of initial sight lines once they get this payload around the corner. It's just how long it takes them to do that.
Oh, I'm expecting something nasty coming down to Skipper with this sight line. But dealing with those shields is going to be pesky, right? Because you just have to try and break through, find those headshots. And most of the players on the side of Olympus, they're going to be hanging out behind. They want to keep it safe. Maybe Beretta's out of focus, but they'll realize the sniper's in their play. But hold on a second. We've got Osamu sitting up in the top deck waiting to drop down, but they won't be able to get any serious damage yet. It's just a little bit of poking and prodding. Poking, though, has the opportunity to just get some damage, build up to those pulse bombs, and keep things cool. This is all about a skirmish right now. No one's actually dying.
No, they're just waiting for the pick, or they're waiting for ultimates. Both teams, I think, are looking to swing wide, almost like Valorant, with that amplification matrix coming in from either of their Baptiste. Now that the lamp is gone from one side, that might be the angles for Olympus Gaming to re-engage here and go for this Baptiste with a Holt combo. Autumn just dinks Poke, beautiful shot from the Zen.
Starts with taking out the flank, but Beretta might be in a bit of a trouble as well. They're going to have to concede that high ground, but maybe it's Zeus's chance to jump up and clear out that Zenyatta, who's causing some terror, but it doesn't matter at this point because a lot of players are falling. That's 3 who've died in this engagement so far from Period.
Yeah, there we go, but Olympus, they do lose their Widow, so that's going to be some nice sight lines available for Skipper once they respawn, but Zeus taking him down to revenge his fallen sniper comrade. That's not going to be too bad. Olympus Gaming, though, on this second map, now they're on the double shield, they look a lot more methodical, a lot more systematic. That's a great window from Otos to fall his enemy number. I mean, Period are falling one by one here. They need to respond on second point, I think, because first point, yeah, already gone.
Yeah, that was a pretty hefty investment of ultimates there from Period, only to lose out on it. And that'll continue Olympus Gaming rolling on through. Someone did have the right idea of dropping the minefield because, you know, Interstellar had that gravitic flux. So it could have been a great wombo combo. Unfortunately, it wasn't on the objective.
Nope, it wasn't. And Overwatch is an objective-based game. Let's never forget it. Unfortunately for Period, you're absolutely right though, Lost. Now that Marble is committed, the all-important Transcendence, Fresco, if he does not get killed here, by the way, is going to be free to use a Gravitic Flux, but it looks like he's going to be run down. Great pick. That's the person they needed because of the danger of that Flux. So Period, great recognition to punish that overextended Sigma and open the fight up for themselves.
Now the question is, what is the next move for Olympus Gaming? I think it's just keep doing what you're doing. Keep Beretta shooting, and that's also a very heavily damaged Osamu. They're far and cut off from the rest of their squad, so supports won't be able to give that health, but having too much focus on Osamu could have been an issue. That's something that caused a detriment to Olympus Gaming previously on Lijiang Tower, but they've got everything under their control, and they can keep that payload rolling.
Yeah, and Olympus lost Fresco. The all-important Flux would have been great to open this fight and really just essentially just kill people from Period. There was nothing that Marble could have done because, hey, the Transcendence from the Zenyatta was not ready to go. Speaking of, Marble managed to get a nice click onto Zeus. We've seen some very bloodthirsty Zenyatas this series, and once again, I speak it into existence. And as I say, Autumn falls, and honestly, it was a really, this fight was too quick for me to throw it over. Loss. There you go, Osamu, quick off the draw, so fast, and fight done. Wow. Yeah.
You know, I feel like that wasn't even a fight. That was just 5 different fights happening at the same time, and Osamu won all of them.
Yeah, the hamster diff, I guess. Luckily, though, for Period, that means they get control of the objective, and now they get control over the sightlines and angles, which allows Pokane, who's very sneakily on the flank, with his hamster in tow. Osamu looking for the tether as well. Olympus, though, they've been holding on to these ultimates for far too long. They need to use them. In particular, this Flux has been burning a huge hole in the side of Fresco's back pocket. He needs to use this to engage and buy any space he can for Olympus to walk forward.
Well, they say a poorly used ult is better than one that isn't used at all, but they are going to hold on to it still as Interstellar and Pokane set up the front line. Even in this back line, they're so scattered that they aren't working together to engage this team fight. I mean, Beretta obviously has to keep themselves distanced, but when you're so distanced you can't even see into the distillery, that's going to be a major issue.
Yeah, and this is where the pure chaos and the pure tempo at which the Wrecking Ball comp can engage losses. Now it's really starting to take over 2 or 3 fights, slowly but surely. Fresco has this ultimate, he's still got it, does not use it, and now Olympus just need to pray they're going to use the Dragon Strike to get them off the high ground, but they lose Lamp in trade, and this gives Osamu a great angle to pincer and go directly to the Zenyatta of Autumn.
So here's a divided focus. That's the win condition of Period. Keep Olympus Gaming unsure of where they should be fighting next. Beretta does have a good shot, but here comes the Gravitic Flux. We've been waiting for it, but it's actually Interstellar. Fresco still has not used his ultimate, but this could be an opportunity for them to break on through into the distillery unless they're unable to get a focus fire. Here comes the Pulse Bomb, good enough to destroy that Immortality field, but who is left to fight after it's destroyed? It's not much. That's 2 down. Make it 3 here for Olympus Gaming because this fight is done.
Yeah, Fresco finally managed to use it, but it was used in a lost fight. You hate to see it. Olympus have made a nice swap at least to go over to the Brigitte to deal with this Wrecking Ball, but with 1 minute left, I think Olympus were just a little bit too slow off the clock. They looked so good in the first half of this map, but once they lost a fight, they just kept losing, and there's really nothing that could be done. And look at the aggressive angle that Skipper's on now as well, basically spawn peeking with this Widowmaker. Olympus with 40 seconds left on the clock, you're not going to win with ultimates, so go over to something that wins in the neutral, and that's exactly what Sixman does. Really like this adaptation from them, but it's just a case of, do they have the time to generate it? Can they find the key targets? Because this is do or die. This whole game is do or die for them, but in particular this fight, this is their last shot of being able to even roll it into second and continue with their attack on this map.
Great hack onto Pokane. That's 1 down. That's the pick they need so they can break on through. But all the while, Festive was all alone. They didn't have the cover support. I mean, Beretta was there to provide damage, but they were way too far away. And now they've got no shields, nothing to work with besides the defense matrix. But that certainly won't be enough. And they're being pinched from all sorts of angles. But finally, they're getting something working here. Suis with the hacks is the exact key to stop those flankers from coming on through. But we're in OT now, and the hits keep on coming. Olympus Gaming has not given up yet, and everything seems to be working in the favor of OG as long as they can finish it off. But Skipper jumping onto the Soldier 76 might be an issue. Oh my god, jumping right into the rock. A simulation of being hit with an asteroid. That's not what you want to see. Regardless, this might be Period's time.
Oh, Interstellar's still alive.
And they win it back out.
Oh, Olympus just did not manage to close it at the final fight, losing Festive there so early. They did not gather, they did not reset, they did not regroup. I was just sort of watching, begging them to regroup and speed through that high ground into the distillery, into that window, into that perch where Skipper and Marble were sitting at that Soldier Zenyatta duo, that one right above the second point. If they could have taken that away, they could have stuffed spawn doors for the recontest. They absolutely could have done it. Obviously, the Winston can get there in basically no time at all, thanks to his leap. But Fresco was still alive. Otos was still alive. Autumn was still alive. They had the mobility. They had the sustain to be able to get there against the current damage that Period had, but they just couldn't quite put it together. The panic of the overtime, the need to stay on the objective, they got so hurried, they got so flustered, and Period were just composed the entire way down. It felt like they were ready to give up payload as much as they needed. Interstellar was on a very dangerous flank, but they were not touched, they were not taken down, they were not eliminated, and that left an anchor, that left one more thing for Olympus to deal with. It felt like Olympus really their loss. They got overloaded. They could not deal with the amount of threats that Period were offering once again on this Wrecking Ball composition, exactly as we saw last series with Strider and his crew on that Wrecking Ball composition. And once again, it's just an attention, it's just a resource diff for Period, and they were just able to deal with the threats that Olympus threw at them so much better than Olympus were able to back and to respond with, and it's given them honestly a pretty easy push here to be able to go 2 maps up.
Now it's the opportunity of Period to start things off, and well, they got it popping. Goodbye, Beretta. There goes your denial of that Wrecking Ball from Osamu. Maybe Autumn will be able to provide with the shield bash, but this is just a sad kill feed indeed. If you're Olympus Gaming looking for that close hold, there goes the mech, and there goes the chances of this initial defense working out.
Yeah, Pokane should be able to be rezzed. If they don't, they lose a lot of angle. Nope, he has to go back onto the Tracer, but hey, they're going to get the payload push. That was a pretty feeble attempt from Olympus, unfortunately. Losing Beretta so early meant there was no one that could touch Pokane in the air, and again, too much to do with it. Their composition was not designed to go anywhere, but unfortunately that meant they could not rotate away from the spam damage that Period T were putting out on this board composition. 3 minutes left on the clock. As well, they've got plenty of time to be able to roll this around the corner, get it into second. Olympus make a small adaptation, go over to the Sombra to try and go against this Wrecking Ball, but they really need to hack him and they need to kill him, most importantly, because if not, they're just going to be feeding support ultimate charge over to Zoolander and Marble by the way of heals.
Oh, potentially a great headshot. I think we're seeing it right now. There goes Skipper, looking fantastic on the Widowmaker, but all the while there is a bit more damage coming out from Olympus Gaming, but it's already 4 dead. There's nothing left that they can do. It's Fresco all alone. Sure, they're a big player. They're the big mech. But when you're all alone, it does not matter. It's Period back in control.
Yeah, Skipper is many miles from home outside of the Antarctica. No Rico, no private, but no problem. Just so composed on the Widowmaker there. Lined up the shot, missed it the first time, steadied himself, kept his crosshair exactly where it needed to be. And yet again, just this Widowmaker being able to find a pick now. Olympus, they have to retreat, and there's only so much more space you can give Loss. As I say that, Skipper again finds a headshot. Cannot finish my sentence before this man kills someone else. Great performance from the Widowmaker so far, and it's buying Period T. So much space, so much time, so much composure. Wrecking Ball, Otos, you have to run away. There we go, finally managed to get him. Okay, the Torbjorn comes out from Suis. This is, I don't want to say it's desperate, but I think it is from Olympus Gaming, and to be fair, this payload is 40, 30 meters away from their final destination. They need to come up with something.
Well, I mean, their idea was try and fight outside of the side room, but the second they did, they brought up the window, but they almost felt like it was an opposite reaction. It just caused major spam damage to swing on through, and once you had Osamu in the equation, there was nothing they could do. The only escape was riddled with landmines, and this is going to be another easy ride on through. Regardless, they've had to hold it down for 3.5 minutes if they even want to contest this.
Nope. Period T are just going to walk it home there to go 2-0 up in the series. Olympus started off well on the double shield. I think a little bit of a seeding differential coming in here. Unfortunately for them, Olympus Gaming just flustered in the end, faltered. Wrecking Ball as a composition as a whole, it's so difficult to go into. I don't really know what else I can say here. Olympus Gaming, they were on the right answer. Double shield was definitely the way to go about it. Nice brig adaptation, but everything that they did came too little, too late. And for Period T, they were just able to cruise those times where they were on a compositional advantage, and Olympus just could not respond in time.
I mean, there was hope, at least when we saw Suis on the Sombra while they were in the distillery. That was when the flanks weren't finding the value that they originally did. That was the one moment that we saw Olympus Gaming have the opportunity to break on through and make it past that second objective. But once they got that initial footing, as you said, the pressure was a bit on because, period, they had a whole nother stretch, a whole third of the map to work with. But this was Olympus Gaming's last-ditch effort to make an attack play on Havana, and the pressure must have got to them. But they still have another chance. They've got one more map loss in the bank if they want to not go home. They got to pull off the reverse sweep. They want to make their way through the rest of this lower bracket of the Open Division, but we'll see if they sink or swim right after this quick break. Welcome back. It's Open Division. It's do or die. Potential last map of the series. It's the first of 3, and Period is up 2-0. Olympus Gaming having some moments of potentially reading their opponent's plans, but they can't act on them. They can't close things out when it matters the most, but this is the last time that they have to make this mistake. We're going over to Kings Row. I'm Low, still rocking it with Jace. And Jace, is there a reverse sweep potential here?
I'm not quite sure. If there was any map to kick it off, it would be Kings Row to do it, because Wrecking Ball, as we said, not very good historically on this map. Going to have to go to something different, likely in particular in the streets and third point phase. And then you go over to Assault. Assault, some of the maps, not the best for Wrecking Ball as well, because you need to fight on an objective, and Wrecking Ball doesn't really do that. So the next 2 maps, potentially the next map and the next mode, very good anti-Wrecking Ball, very bad Wrecking Ball maps in general. So there's potential, but in terms of what I'm seeing from Olympus so far, the adaptations they're making, they are getting to the right decision, right? Unfortunately, it's sort of like when you're sat in the exam room and you get the right question 30 minutes after the exam has already concluded. It's too late. It does not matter at that point. It's already been signed, sealed, and delivered. Your paper has already been handed in, and that's the only downfall, the only pitfall, the major pitfall that Olympus Gaming are getting to right now. Because if they keep up like they're doing, if they do not adapt quicker, if they do not turn on the adaptations, if they do not try and change things up when it's not working, sooner, then they're just going to lose the time bank, and Olympus Gaming are down and out as period. Looks like they're on the defense first. They're going to be on a standard rush composition, something we've not seen from them so far. Let's see how they pull it out, because even last time when they played a six-man composition, a deathball composition, Osamu was on Wrecking Ball, so it's going to be a new look-up for him on the Reinhardt against Festive.
Ooh, nice little TP to close the gap, and half the team does get blocked off by that wall, but no kills are secure just yet because Swiss is there to keep themselves safe, but it is Painless who did substitute in for Autumn in between maps, the first one to fall, and things are not looking good for Olympus Gaming already, as that's going to be a team kill off the rip.
Yeah, pretty much. That's 6 back to the spawn. They do get the one trade on Osamu, but it's going to get back in record time thanks to Zoolander on that Lucio. Most importantly as well, they get a huge stagger period. Just, it's a better ice wall. Unfortunately, Protein just getting a better wall onto the Reinhardt from Suez. There was nothing that Olympus could do. They could not use that TP that came out from Beretta to mitigate and go against that ice wall. And, well, sometimes in the Brawl Mirror, it's just made if, and that's exactly what happened in Fight 1.
Little bit of chaos.
Oh my God,
It's all about those dueling walls. Beretta the first one to fall, but this time, courtesy of Zoolander, nice little solo Lucio kill, and those shields are going to break as soon as it does for Festive. It's all over. Festive is gone. They have to retreat, and they may be able to escape if they have that defense matrix, but if they want, period, to press the issue and secure even more eliminations.
Yet again, happens again as well as Sirius manages to get the ice wall onto his former number and Zoolander finishes him off. It's 2 fights in a row now that Protein has just landed a good May wall to split someone off that was not with the rest of their team. Firstly, it was Osab. Firstly, it was Festive. Then it was Beretta. Now managed to get the pick onto Sirius as well. Sirius, though, is actually going to get Blizzard first. That's going to be a great entry point. That's going to be the win con as Protein gets forced out. Ice block. Olympus, great opportunity to engage here.
Oh, Bocane in the backline drops the Blizzard. That's the last place you want him. They didn't focus on it. And Interstellar on top of it. Bingo bongo. Your whole team is gone. Oh, my lord. Try again next time, OG.
It's an illegal Blizzard that comes out from Protein, honestly. They were right in the middle of the team with no ice block. Fresco just needed to look at the May, needed to hold the defense matrix and just pray. Protein, yes, looked at the floor, put it out at extreme speed. Suis using it second. So criminal, just now they have to swap over to the Doomfist to try and play Olympus Gaming going second with ultimates. They Blizzard second. It's a cardinal sin. You do not do it in the Rush Mirror and they get punished for it. And Protein once again takes down Suis. That's 2 times that's happened in as many fights, and Olympus just walk in and they fall over.
Yeah, no, they tried to bring out that Earth Shadow from Festive, completely blocked by Osamu, and they'll hold on to theirs. I think the next engagement will be a massacre. Zoolander denies Fresco from escaping, and they're just waiting down the death counter.
Yep, they really are. Olympus now, it's just so sad to look and see because they don't have really any big ultimates to come in. The Sound Barrier will be useful, but it's going to have to come for either Marble or Protein's ultimate here with that Amp and Blizzard, respectively. Nice rotation to go through, but this is going to leave them in a tighter choke point in which Protein can once again try and destroy them with a May wall.
Okay, Maywall sent up, but this is going to be a big self-destruction. Yes, Zoolander, Bocane are gone. This is the opportunity for Olympus Gaming to make their way through. Osamu with a return of Shatter. It's great. It's fat. It DMX Fresco, but do they have the rest of the support to win it out? No, period. They'll be late to the fight, late to save the day. They'll have to lose this one out unless Interstellar can stall it out. I don't think they can.
No, the beat's going to come in as well to buy a little bit of time. Fresco's bomb was so good, and Beretta now, the Peacekeeper, is well and truly hot, well and truly alive and active. We've been waiting a while for that Casti to be able to find some of those shots, and, well, did it when it mattered most, but great entry bomb from Fresco. His team needed a lifeline, and that's exactly what they offered on that D.Va. The bomb to space, the bomb to zone is good, but the bomb to kill, even better. They do have to get past Archway without a May against a May, so Protein's Blizzard here is pretty much going to be free. It's going to be really rough for them, but no ice wall. I mean, Olympus should and can walk forward.
Oh, and the second they do, they walk into the trap. They have the lamp to keep them safe, but they're out of range. The lamp's gone, and so is the main offensive force of Olympus Gaming. As we were talking about the perils of going against a May, well, we certainly got a class act on that.
Yeah, if that's intentional from Protein, that's the most 5-head play I think I've ever seen in all of Overwatch. And we're 6 years into the game already. Protein using that ice wall early and then dropping it to make Olympus walk into a false sense of security, false confidence, and then just blizzarding right under their noses and freezing them all and killing them all in that tight choke point. They had nowhere to go. Even without that ice wall, there was nowhere to cut them off. They froze just too fast, and beautiful play. That's one fight ultimate, and now Marble gets to swing with this window with his team, but he gets knocked on the floor and crunched under Suez.
What a nasty meteor strike, and the follow-up is huge. That's 4 gone. There's nothing they can do at this point. What a beautiful combination of those ultimates, and I'm glad, big shout out to the observers, to have us watch that meteor strike death onto Skipper. Beautiful.
That's so brutal. Marble is on the floor there with the window. The shatter comes in from Festive. Suez instantly pops it. And well, I mean, if you're in the center of it, you still take that full one-shot damage. And when you're on the floor, earth shattered, you cannot go anywhere. You cannot move. Skipper gets revenge though for Suez crunching his flex support in that previous fight, and Period T come back strong. They only use the high noon, and they get a little bit of momentum back once again. But Olympus have got a nice little push and plenty of time left on the clock if they can regroup, but not if they lose Fresto. Fresto needs to stay in his match, does not, and this is going to be a brutal stagger now that Period comes in. This is the last thing that you wanted if you are an Olympus Gaming player.
Have some time, and maybe the D.Va Bomb can come in handy. What else is happening? They've got 30 seconds. They have so much ground to cover. They'll require Painless to get them through, give them the speed boost, but you don't even have to worry about getting to the objective. You got to worry about Period standing in front, and they've got ultimates to spare. They've got Earth Shatter. They got a Maywall. You won't even be able to get to the fight before it ends.
10 seconds left on the clock. So Fresco gets a huge onto Procane though. That's no Blizzard for the Mei. That's so important because that ult is so crucial. They go the side of their own, but Osmo goes over the top rope with that Earth Shatter. Doesn't manage to find anything though. It's still very winnable for Olympus, and they have the kills over.
Oh my god, what a great conversion! Even the remake causes some serious damage, but what else are they going to do? Period. They're all done. They wanted to have their trump card, their gambit of all hitting Q, and they would win it out, but that's not the case. Olympus Gaming flipped the script, and they're in the 3rd stretch of this map.
They not only flip it, they completely tear it up, and once again, we have to take a moment to calm and collectively tip our hats, take them all the way off, and just let Fresco take a bow. 2 fights in overtime now, delivered a incredibly clutch play. First, it was the 2K bomb on first point, and second, it was all about that Blizzard eat. That was the win condition for Period. Completely denied that, and that lets the rest of his team snowball, and snowball they do, but Skipper finds 2 back with the high noon. Period T, I think, once again have halted the push of Olympus with now a minute left on the clock, just as they got going, Loss.
Festive all alone now. That's gonna run it down. They're all done, but they have plenty of time. 50 seconds. I mean, that's at least 1.5 fights. It's one fight now if they're running it down.
Yeah. It's a fight and it's a stagger to the overtime. They do not have much to go. This Meteor Strike is going to have to be used, I think, to go all in to force Marble's resources out. If they can get Lamp with this Meteor Strike, then potentially they've got a way into the fight. But if not, then Period just have the resource difference over the long fight.
Seen this bait with the wall before. Suisse has that Meteor Strike, but everyone going around this corner, I'm not sure what the plan is going to be. Suisse starts things off, dives into the back line, but they've got the healing left to keep them safe. They won't die yet. Morena, maybe they can get the ult up before they fall. No, everyone is going to be okay, but Suisse jumps right into that Blizzard, but really it's Interstellar with the 3K and a DMAC to Fresco. Goodbye, good night. Olympus Gaming will not get the 3rd point.
Yep, the President is being actively rushed undercover because Olympus has fallen here. 2nd point. Down they go on Kings Row. They could not complete the map. Some great overtime plays from them thanks to Fresco and Festive. Suis comboing with Beretta as well to find some picks when they needed. But, I mean, when it mattered most, in the most fights, Period T just slamming the door in their faces thanks to some great rush play. And we saw that 2K come out from Fresco. The D.Va bombs from Olympus were good, but Periods were, well, gooder. They were better. They were bigger when it needed. Interstellar has found now a pair of 3K pulse bombs this entire map, and Period T it's just the same story as Lijiang, isn't it? I find myself repeating what I am saying because it's exactly what's happening. Period T, when they're going second, they're sort of just pulling them on strings. Olympus have had some great moments, some great individual plays, a nice Earth Shatter, a nice D.Va Bomb, a nice window, a nice Meteor Strike, a nice eat onto Prokane's Blizzard, but in 85% of these fights when Olympus Gaming have not had the overwhelming ult advantage, they've just been completely crushed by Period T, and it's given them, once again, Period T have a very achievable, very manageable distance to be able to complete the map and ultimately close out the series and continue on in the lower bracket.
Yeah, period T. Period. For some folks out there. But I'm liking this adjustment. We're having this Moira here now, so a lot of heals can be brought together and a better ability. Okay, never mind. You can never trust players before the game starts. You never look at those hero picks. But regardless, Skipper here on the Ashe, excited for some poke composition because there isn't much to defend against that. Sure, you got the icicles and the shots from Beretta, but I think this is going to be a huge dynamite just to slow burn him out.
Absolutely, the Dynamite's going to provide a nice bit of cleave damage for Osamu to try and pincer in. Cocaine not going to be doing the most damage with no Discord orb to follow. Does manage to find it, however, finally as it goes all the way onto Festive. But Olympus Gaming, for now, they can honestly just chill in a hotel and wait for POT to build up these ultimates because, yes, they give angles, but most importantly, they drain time and they get an opportunity to rotate. They have flip map, though. Really nice flip from Period to take over point control.
Wondering what's going to happen. Oh, that's a huge slam dunk by Osamu, and that keeps him cornered in one location. But regardless, good opener, but the double dynamite. They lost out on the lamp, and Osamu continues to cause chaos. Skipper, how many kills can you get with the dynamite?
3 with the dynamite. It wasn't even through the window that could come out from Zoolander. As well, that's just a bone dry naked dynamite, just a cooldown ability, perfectly executed to, well, execute 3. That's not something I've seen and not something I probably will see for quite a while. That's so rare. As I said, I'm surprised that it didn't come with the dynamite. But as I say that, Osamu on the flank, he's behind them, and well, this is a ultimate incoming.
Yeah, well, there goes the lamp, but it doesn't matter. Here comes the Gravitic Flux Slam back down into the field, but the last 2 players, they are away, but it still results in a D-Mech and a destruction of OG. Again, second team kill of the round.
Yep, great engage there. Great little combo. They are rolled through by Osamu. They are hit with that grappling hook. They are sort of flung into the Flux from Interstellar, and they are gently ferried into the afterlife by the slam. That came down. Olympus Gaming respawn after being team wiped. Now 4 minutes 20 left on the clock. PUT get it around the all-important crucial corner on this point for their composition. Now they're going to have a nice spam angle to be able to kite. And as I say that, Otos falls so early, illegally early, as Cocaine picks him off on the Baptiste.
Oh god, that's pretty much fight guaranteed, right? I mean, they lost out on the shields. They've got nothing to work with.
No lamp, no shield. The Baptiste and the Reinhardt with alongside the Mei, that's your core of the composition. That really keeps it on its head, it keeps it on its toes, it prevents it from falling over. And Cocaine just completely dismantling them with a thorn in their side on Mei, and is now doing exactly the same on Tracer. This is rough to watch if you're an Olympus Gaming enjoyer. If you're an Olympus Gaming player, it's tough to go against. Period T just really running away with it. It's once again, they cannot deal with the hamster, and it's been a nuisance for them all series, and 5 minutes left on the clock. It's just a matter of when and not if for Period T right now.
Not to mention there's a Bob on the docket. So, okay, hold on a second. Skipper won't be able to bring that in place. So they've lost a big part of their damage. No more able to have that shield behind. So this is a good delay. It's a good delay, but they still have 4 minutes and 45 seconds.
Yep, I'm still not yet ready to sign off on this full hold that Olympus Gaming are doing, but each fight, it gets more and more likely, gets more and more viable. They do have the window to go. They do have the Earth Shatter if they can use it to cancel something. Maybe like the Flux, if they can use it to pop someone like Cocaine or Osamu before they manage to engage. Potentially there's opportunities, but Olympus need to make massive mechanical outplays. Speaking of, 4 shots from Cocaine.
I think Bob just walked off the edge too, so that's not a good start, but that's still 2 dead. They've lost out on the shield. Fresco is the only one there to keep them alive with the defense matrix, but regardless, you know Marvel is about to cause some serious mayhem. Might be able to bring out the right click, but they are good for a shot onto Interstellar before they fall. It's still a wacky game. The numbers aren't here. It's not a full team, but Skipper with the dynamite is just so dynamite.
Yeah, he's so lethal with that right click. It was nice cleanup though. Olympus had a great opening to this fight as Cocaine just got dinked. And as I say that, Skipper has been dinked as well by the respawns. Olympus Gaming, could they do it? Can they contest point? I think they can. PUT, they don't really have the composition to fight in this small room on this objective here. They have to space out.
Yeah, that's not looking good for them, but it also follows up with the Ant Matrix. They want to get around. The Doomfist is denying it. Suis finally has an answer to stop Osamu from having free reign of this area, but it doesn't matter if you can't cover your back as well, because you've got multiple flankers. You still got Pokane to deal with, and maybe Festive coming in now with the Other Shatter can turn around and turn this fight on its head. Marble's right in front of him. You gotta fight. You gotta stop the healing. So much utility is coming through on the side. It's Marble with 2 kills. The supports are gone. Fresco tries to fight back with that self-destruction, and it does work for the meantime.
Yeah, they do. Suis falling down as well to Zoolander. Both supports are alive, and both of them are capable of dealing as much damage as anyone in the lobby. Add the sustain onto that, and I think it's just good night for Olympus Gaming. Period T are going to have the Flux to come back in as well. Great slam engage as Skipper pops Beretta with that headshot. They're all stuffed into the corner now. There's the Flux to finish it off with the minefield on top as well. Period T are going to walk away with this one. 3-0 sweep against Olympus Gaming. It's pushed in beautifully to close out that final fight. Really nice engage. It was just too big of a mountain to climb for Olympus Gaming in the end, and well and truly your deserved winners for this match in 3-0 fashion. It's Period T.
That was such a difficult finish to deal with if you're Olympus Gaming, but they did find better plays throughout this series. I will have to give them that. They improved a little by a little by a little. And with their ability to even get into that third stretch of King's Row, I think it speaks volumes that they were able to counteract periods when the clock was ticking down, especially in those streets. They were able to find some minor successes, but they couldn't clutch it out in the end. But going back to Period T, they were just monstrous. And I'm talking Skipper, especially when they were uncontested on the high ground of that, that final stretch uncontested. And when they did contest against Skipper, well, it allowed for the Wrecking Ball to find more value, allowed Tracer to get into the back line. So it was the inability to just target select in an efficient manner because everyone was hitting them all at once.
Yeah, I think it's actually a really sort of a bad oversight on my part to not mention that whole map about why they stayed on a composition that clearly wasn't working. And I think in hindsight, it's just down to they were running Rush on King's Row dice. That is standard, that is expected, that is what has always worked against any composition, but they had it in some fights thanks to massive mechanical outplays and thanks to some great use of the ultimate combos as well. But Period T were just so clean with ultimates and so clean in knowing how to play against the Rush composition, even though they didn't quite have the geography to execute it as cleanly and as easily as normally you do with ball against Reinhardt compositions. You wait for the Reinhardt composition to rotate, and then on an off angle on the side from behind, you slam behind them, you get that pincer with your DPS, and you essentially just blow them up once they're all in that slammed animation from the hamster that comes down. That basically happened every fight, and there was small windows of opportunity for Period to do it, but they took it perfectly. They took it so cleanly every time. But I don't blame Olympus for sticking on the Reinhardt comp. When you look at it in hindsight, you think, like, what on earth are they doing? Like, doesn't work. It's so grief. They've got too much damage to deal with. But what else are you going to go over to on that map in particular? 6-man, your Winston would have just got poked out. Your Moira would have got dove. Your Lucio can't really effectively ferry everyone around because there's no one for them to go onto because your Zen is sat so far back in the edge of the map. They're basically in spawn room the entire time. You can't touch the Zen, and that's who you want to go onto as 6-man. It's really difficult. As I said, Period T basically just had them at checkmate the entire map, and finally, once they closed out King's Row, they knocked the King over and take the series.
King is dead. Olympus is done as well. But Period T, their run is far from over. They'll be moving on to the lower round 8. They'll be facing off against Bird Red Esport, or Bedward Esport, here for access. The 13th seed. Wow, what a great and terrible name. Thank you guys for making me read that.
That's such a cursed name.
Congratulations, Period T. They're not done yet. The challenges continue next week on June 4th, but that's going to be it here for NA Open Division here on the 29th. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Los, joined by Jace. Thank you. And I guess if you're in the UK like Jace, have a good night.
See you later.